Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to be doing a movement demonstration. This is one of my favorite movements of all time. Straight leg deadlift, stiff leg deadlift, Romanian deadlift, RDL, whatever you want to call it. It is my absolute, or one of my all-time favorite movements. I love it. I can go really heavy on it. It doesn't absolutely exhaust my body. There's not a load on you, so it's not like there's a load on your shoulders. You're just holding it in your hands. Absolutely love the straight leg deadlift, all right? I'm gonna walk through how to do it. It's done wrong quite often, and there's a couple variations. So we're gonna walk through my recommendations, tips on how to do a little better, how to feel it more, and the key points to really look out for. All right, let's get to it. Thanks for joining, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. It helps out a ton. Thanks so much, and let's get into it. Okay, so the main point of this movement is to hinge at the hips. So the hinge is this movement at the hips here. The hinge comes straight from the hips. There's no knee movement at all. So on a regular deadlift, you have a hinge and some knee flexion. On the straight leg deadlift, we want our knees to be completely stiff. We don't want them to be locked. So we don't want them to be fully locked. We want a little bit of softness in the knees, all right? So we're gonna keep this softness, this tension here, and we're not gonna change this very slight angle at all. So we're gonna keep this stiffness, lock the knees, don't lock them, but keep them strong. And then all we're gonna do is hinge at the hips, keeping our back nice and straight and not looking up, all right? And then you're gonna pull back up through here. So you want these knees to be keeping about the same level of bend as you move through the hips. What we're doing when we're doing a straight leg deadlift or an RDL is we're working our posterior chain of our legs and back. The main muscles that are worked are the hamstrings and the glutes, and the low back helps out, and our upper back holds the bar or holds whatever we're holding on to. So when we're doing this exercise, we really want to focus on feeling the hamstrings work. And the first way by doing that is to feel them stretch out. So on this exercise, it looks just like a toe touch. When you're reaching down to touch your toes, you feel the back of your leg stretch. And that's the feeling we want to recreate and hold on to. And when we feel that stretch, once we get to the bottom of the movement, we want to pull back up using those same muscles. So use that stretch in the hamstrings to drive back up, to pull back, to retighten that muscle. So the stretch in the hamstrings is also going to tell us when we want to pull back up. So as you come down, you're going to feel the hamstrings get tight, tight, tight. At a certain point, your hamstrings get too tight, and if you want to go any lower, you have to round your back to get down. So we want to go as low as possible without bending our knees more and without rounding our back. So you should feel as you come down, you're going to have a point where you say, okay, that's far enough. If I go any more, I'm going to compromise my form and my back is going to go like this, or I'm going to have to bend my knees. So really the main thing to think about during this movement is to feel what's happening in your body. So feel the hamstrings stretch out. As you feel them tighten, pull back up through those muscles. Now, the key things we want to watch out for is keeping our back, our head, and our neck all in neutral alignment. What I mean by that is as you hinge, you don't want the back rounding. You also don't want a big arch in the lower back like this. We want it all nice and tight. We want to squeeze our core. And we want to pull up, keeping our back completely locked in the same position that it starts in. Our back should not alter positions other than hinging at the hips. We also want to make sure that our feet are completely planted flat and that we're not leaning on our toes or we're not pulling back all the way on our heels. You can think about driving through the heel some. That's going to give a little bit more activation in the backside of that leg, but you want to keep your feet fully planted on the ground. So now doing this with weight, there's no difference. You can do it with dumbbells, you can do it with a barbell, but when you have the weight, there's two things you can do. One, you can keep the weight really close to your shins and your legs, or you can let the weight stay out a few inches away from your legs. I prefer to keep the weight out a few inches, but if you're just starting out, I would recommend staying closely to your shins, get the feeling first, and then inching that weight out away just a little bit. Now this is different from a regular deadlift where you want to keep the weight in as tight to your body as you can. The reason we do this on a straight leg deadlift is to get a little bit more stretch in the hamstrings and really feel that backside. Feet planted flat. I've got this softness in my knees, but those are going to be locked. And then I break at the hips. My head stays down. Right here I feel that I'm stretching, and then I pull back up. Hinge. Feel the stretch. Pull back up. Now if I want to leave the weight out a little bit more, you can shift the hips back. Let the weight stay out more. I feel that stretch much sooner, and pull back up. Now like I said, this exercise can be done with a barbell, with dumbbells. You can also do this with bands. So I have some bands here. Take the bands, put them under your feet, and it's the same exact movement. Soft knees, hinge at the hips, feel the stretch, pull back up to the top. Alright guys, hopefully that covers it all. It was a nice little tutorial for the straight leg deadlift, stiff leg deadlift, RDL, Romanian deadlift. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about this, drop a comment below and let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for joining guys, and I will see you next time.